Hi, family. Welcome home. Just want to say hi. I'm outside. Just got out of the shower, letting my hair dry. And I forgot to bring my book to introduce our new family members. Shame on me. I don't know. It's been a rough week. My mind is losing. Well, I'm losing that. But what I wanted to start was my car accident series. And I'll try to do this as a weekly series so you may understand where I was, the middle, where I am, and I don't know where. Sorry, I'm gonna go. It's a little hot out here. It's like 93 degrees. But June 8th, 2001, it was about 4:05 p.m. approximately, and we were sitting in front of my job. My husband had drove me because he needed the car. So that day, there were some things that had always happened that were different that day. He always used to go and get gas before he took me to work. But he said, no, he used to get gas after he took me to work. But he said, I'm going to go fill the car up while you finish getting ready. And I said, okay. And then my kids always came with me. But my mother-in-law had moved in 2 weeks prior to that. So I talked them into staying, well, my daughter into staying home. My son, he was happy to stay home. So off to work we went. And I was around a couple minutes late. I had therapy on my hand. I had carpal tunnel. And we were sitting there. And all I remember was there was this big semi-truck coming towards us. And it was a little bit after 4. And I woke up in the hospital about 8:30. At first I didn't know where I was, and my head hurt. I am right-handed, and I couldn't move my right arm. So I finally, with the help of my left arm, took my right arm and pushed it up here because my head hurt so bad, and all this was mushy, and it was swollen really bad. And then the next thing I remember is I had to use the restroom. I was still all in my clothes, and so somebody came in and they said, oh, you're awake? And I said, yeah. And they said, do you know where you are? And by that time, I figured out I was in the hospital from the bed, the machines, listening to the noise around me. But what I didn't realize is I was in the, intensive care part of the emergency room. That's where they put really bad people that they don't know what the outcome's going to be if they need surgery or if they need to be transferred. And I remember there was this little girl in there, and they had to transfer her by life flight to U of M. And I mean, I felt so bad for the parents, but I still didn't know how I got there. I didn't know what had happened. I remember nothing. I've lost 4.5 hours of my life that I can't remember. Now, you're going to hear the 4.5 hours of my life because I asked my husband over and over and over and over again till he's so sick and tired of telling me, but I know exactly what happened. So, and I told the nurse I have to use the restroom. So she comes by and she gives me a bedpan and throws it on the bed. Now, I'm over 300 pounds. And I said, what am I supposed to do with this? She's like, well, you said you got to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, go get my husband. He'll take me to the bathroom. So somebody else walked by. And I said, excuse me. I told him again. I said, I'm not using this. I can hardly move. I hurt. Please go get my husband. He will take me. So my husband finally came back. He was in a white t-shirt. And the first thing I remember looking at him was, how am I going to get all that blood out of that t-shirt? Now, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't ask where my purse was. I did ask where my shoes were. And that's what I told him. And he says, well, do you know what happened? I said, no. And he said, we were in a car accident. I said, okay. He said, but we should be going home pretty soon. His sister was up there. His brother was up there. His sister-in-law were up there. They were all up there. I guess my friend had called. And he told her, I said that I didn't want her to come up. So, I don't remember that. But what had happened was, when we were stopped. There was a Ford Ranger had come up behind us doing approximately 45 miles per hour. And when he realized we were stopped and he wouldn't be able to stop, he did a hard right and caught my side of the car. Now, we had a little hatchback. When he hit my side of the car, he took the whole car, the whole back of the car, the whole hatchback, and squished it into the back seats. And when that happened, it caused my side door to buckle. So it looked like we were rear-ended and T-boned. And that's what the police report had wrote up. But there was no way we could have got T-boned because there was no car that could have came the other way. And when the police got there, I guess the truck was on top of our car. Now, if my children had been in the car, they'd have been killed. And if my children would have been killed, my mission in life would to hunt him down and kill him myself. And then there would be no reason for me to be here anymore. And I know that's a horrible thing to think, but without my kids, who are my life, at that point, what I was going through, that's what kept reoccurring in my mind. So he pushed us approximately 45 feet, and where we stopped at was in front of a house that has a greenhouse. They sell flowers. Well, when they heard the crash, the guy come running out, stabilized my husband's neck. The stereo had flown from, he hit it, and the stereo popped out of the dashboard and smacked my husband in the head. Now, he has a Y-shaped scar in the back of his head. And I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but it's the only thing that happened to him. Thankfully. That's it. That's it. They couldn't get me out of the car. They had to use the jaws of life to get the door open to get me out of the car. My husband said once they got that out of the car, that they kept asking me questions. I had just rolled my window up, and my window was completely gone. The only windows in the car were my husband's, the driver's side window, because it was rolled down, and the front windshield. I don't know if it got cracked or anything. And my husband kept answering the questions for me. And he said I would, like, make a little noise, moan every time they touched me or something. But I never woke up, never said anything. So they finally got me out of the car. Well, they took him out of the car and threw him in the middle of the street on a stretcher with a neck brace on. And, you know, they kept telling him, sir, you have to be quiet, sir, you have to be quiet. She needs to answer. We need to get through to her if we can get through to her. And, well, when the guy had come up before anybody got there, he was laughing. He thought it was funny, and I was slumped over. And my husband had taken off my seatbelt so I could slump over more because it was, you know, holding me. And he couldn't get me awake. And the guy stopped laughing, and he said, is she dead? And my husband told him, I don't know. Well, then all of a sudden it wasn't too funny anymore. So once they got us out of the car, they sent us to the nearest hospital, which is a smaller hospital, and I guess they were going to arrest him, but he yelled he was hurt and needed to go to a hospital. So they sent him to a bigger hospital that actually would have been more equipped for me, but I don't know if I was unstable and they need to get me someplace fast. I don't know. So my sister-in-law, I wanted to see my sister-in-law because she worked in a facility for closed head injuries. And I knew my husband wouldn't help me. So she came in, and and one other thing, because my window was up, my head hit it, and when my head hit it and broke it, I still have glass in my scalp to this day. Most of it has worked its way out, but there's still some in there that I can feel, that I don't know if it's ever going to come out. Sometimes I can feel it close to the scalp, close to the surface, but it won't break its way through, and it hurts. It hurts to brush my hair sometimes, just to touch my head sometimes. So when my sister-in-law came in, I told her, I said, I cannot move my arm, my right arm. So she asked them, have you done anything to her? Have you sent her for x-rays? Have you done anything? And they said, no, we haven't. So she said, well, you better do something. She said she can't move her arm. She better make sure it's not broke. Look at the hematoma on her head. You better do this. You better do that. She just started barking orders. So that's why I wanted her back there. So in the meantime, they finally sent somebody in to catheterize me. And once she did that, the lady said she didn't even have it in there all the way. And she's like, oh, honey, you had to go. And I said, I kept telling these people, and nobody believed me. So at that point, my mom had finally come up, because I guess my friend called her, and she said, we'll just go up tomorrow when she's not in the emergency room or when she's home and see her. And, my friend told her, she said, I think you better get up there now. It's, from what I hear, it's pretty bad. So they came up, and they took me down. They did x-rays. My arm was not broken. My skull was not cracked. But they were transferring me to a bigger hospital for brain surgery. So by the time they sent me to the bigger hospital, and that's all that happened at the little hospital. Then they got me ready to go, and they sent you by ambulance. And if you've never been in an ambulance, please hope that you are asleep, because you feel every flipping bump you hit. Now, moving at any point made me dizzy, made me nauseous, just everything. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going to go on. I didn't know why I was going to another hospital. They just didn't let me go home. So they got me to the hospital, and they put me in acute intensive care. Now, this is the time where they had made the intensive cares all, instead of like one room, they made it, everybody has glass doors and windows, and the nurse's station is in the middle, and they can see what's going in, and they monitor your machines. The room I was in was one nurse, 24 hours a day. There was never, that room was never without a nurse. And there was two people. I was on one side of the room, somebody was on the other side. Was somebody on the other side of the room with me? I do not know. When I got there, I was very, very nauseous when they got me in the bed. And the first thing I wanted to do was to call my kids, because I knew my daughter would be worried. She was in 3rd grade. My son was in 6th grade. I knew she would be worried that Dad hadn't been home. Mom should have been home. Dad should have been home to tell him what had gone on. So I guess my friend went down and told him that I was in a car accident. I was in the hospital, yada, yada, yada. So she got really upset, and she wanted to talk to me, and I knew she was going to want to talk to me. So I got to talk to him for a couple of minutes, and she wanted to come up and see me, and I told her she couldn't. She wasn't old enough. But as soon, and I said, they're going to check me out, and I'm sure I'm coming home. So I guess when something like this happens, it doesn't penetrate your mind on what kind of bad shape that you're in, or I just thought I wasn't in bad shape. They're going to keep me overnight, monitor me, and I'll go home tomorrow. No big deal. I'll stay in hospitals. As long as I stayed in hospitals was 3 days when I had my babies, and I complained the whole time I was there. They asked me, when do you want to go home? I said, as soon as this child is delivered, release me. Oh, we can't do that. Then don't ask me. So They wanted me to take some Dilatin. Dilated is a pain. Is it dilated? One's a pain medicine, one's a seizure medicine. So I guess once they had checked my brain activity and some other things, the neurologist said that I had seizures in the car, so they wanted me on those pills. But since I had nothing to eat for almost 24 hours, they gave me a little bit of like a soup broth, and then I had to take those pills, and those pills were like this big. And I didn't take pills then. I didn't take pills very well. And I just, there was a slew of people in this room, and they said they could stay for a couple of minutes. They didn't normally allow this, but once I got settled, everybody would have to leave. And visiting hours were like from 6 to 7, 10 to 15 minutes, 2 people at a time, blah, blah, blah. So my husband had to leave because he didn't have any other way home, and he couldn't stay the night, and he needed to get home to the kids. Excuse me. It was more important that he was home with the kids since I couldn't be there than him to be with me since he couldn't be in the room anyways. And what was he going to do? Not a thing. So somewhere along the line, they gave me something for pain. And I remember everybody leaving. They give me something for pain. And the next morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, something black. My mom and dad had come in. I think it was a 10-minute visit. And my dad does not show his emotions. He's not an affectionate person. And he just stood there. He didn't know what to say. He couldn't talk. At his 10 minutes, he was like, "Can we go? Are you ready to go? Isn't it time for us to leave?" And I understood. So my mom's like, I'll be back later. So then right after that, my 2 friends were standing outside to come in, so I got to see them for a couple of minutes. And that was on Saturday morning. So we're going to end that right now because it's going on 18 minutes on this. And so that is from Friday at approximately 4 o'clock until Saturday morning, approximately 6:30 a.m. And we will continue from 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning on our next series, part of the series. So if you guys, if this interests you, give me a thumbs up if you'd like to join our little family. There's a subscribe button. If you don't want to, I understand. I'm not going to force anybody. Want to give a thumbs down, give a thumbs down. I guess either way, let people know that they're viewing your content and it gets you out there. And I don't know if I'm like reflecting into my phone at the same time you see me, and I do apologize. So I may have to redo this once I look at it. All right, family. I appreciate you guys. And I love you so much. And I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.